sir. I mean, why all of a sudden are we chaperones?
All of a sudden, boom!
3 movies, and then all of a sudden
Just
he's dead.
lining up all of a sudden saying...
I got woman running all of a sudden with fortune tellers and...
Now all of a sudden you get this urge to confess?
Why is she a big taboo subject all of a sudden?
Son, why we're doing that?
All of a sudden, without a sound.
To buy my escort.
Why has our mission changed, sir? I mean, why all of a sudden are we chaperones?
The Flying Fortresses are taking heavy losses and need a...
It's an accident. Goddamn car accident. All of a sudden, boom! Somebody up there still likes me.
I got you.
Eden and Giant. That's it.
Wow.
Yeah, 3 movies, and then all of a sudden he's dead.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
Tragedy.
It is.
Those girls back in high school that treated you like shit, just lining up all of a sudden saying, hey, Robin, we're so sorry about how we treated you.
Nothing to get away from. I didn't do anything. Shoot, I got woman running all of a sudden with fortune tellers and meat hooks and...
I'll take care of it when we hit a phone.
Actually, fine. I did you a favor when you needed it, all right? Now all of a sudden you get this urge to confess? The time to confess was to Miriam about your mistress, not about...
Why should she tell me?
There's nothing to tell.
Well, why is she a big taboo subject all of a sudden? Well, I guess I'll have to ask her out on that.
We're turning all serious all of a sudden. Why we're doing that?
Come on.
Huh? Now, don't you be bullshitting me.
Move in fast. They move out faster. It'll happen all of a sudden, without a sound. Keep all points covered.
Uh-huh.
Just, one day, all of a sudden, he was...
Dave Boyle strikes me as the type of guy who's permanently back on his heels.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Dave Boyle. Wait a second. How did we get to Dave Boyle all of a sudden?
We just got to him.
He's just a guy who was in the bar.
Well, what do you expect? You can't all of a sudden be my best friend just because you had a bad day. I mean, how...
And all of a sudden I realized, I just knew.
You to think about, Harry?
What?
About marrying her right away.
What's so important I should get married all of a sudden?
If you ever got dragged into court, a wife couldn't testify against her husband.
I'm glad. But all of a sudden?
All of a sudden.
What? I'm sorry. They gave me some truth serum, and then all of a sudden I started talking all honestly, like I hate the way that you load the dishwasher.
Sally, when I become bad guy all of a sudden? No, I get it, but...
You were asleep. Yes.
All of a sudden I just had to go swimming. It was so hot. You were
lost in that moment. And then all of a sudden, this strange ticking.
I didn't think you'll ever realize how grateful I am.
Why this all of a sudden?
I think I've got that flat in London.
Oh, dear, I'm sorry. We shall both miss you terribly.
What are you, silent partner all of a sudden?
I understand very well.
You haven't been around here in weeks, and now you turn up all of a sudden.
Watch it, Mac. Watch where you're going.
Right, and he told me he was coming home, and then all of a sudden his voice breaks and he bursts into tears. And then he starts telling me that he doesn't...
Same time, and you came up with some of your best songs. All of a sudden, why does one girl make you feel guilty?
I don't know. I just do.
Well...
Christmas and Thanksgiving and spring break and going to football games, and then all of a sudden they're graduating, they're getting jobs, and they're getting married, and, you know, I'm a...
Look, Canada, okay? Our neighbor to the north all of a sudden transformed into that place from whence, like the north wind, terror comes.
I like that.
I can't. The car vanishes, and all of a sudden, I'm on the ground in the woods.
The car doesn't vanish, Haley. The movie...
Make him tumble for your charms and those burglaries. And all of a sudden, there was a guy named Marshall.
Just happened that way. Wasn't it better the way?
What was that redhead's name?
Maureen.
Yeah.
Galvin.
All of a sudden, from downstairs, my father's voice booms out. Who the hell's been drinking my scotch?
Jenny should grow up. You know, I have a steady job. This is what I'm doing. And now all of a sudden, if you had these problems, I wish you would have said them earlier before I signed on the god...
You're thinking about something completely meaningless. And all of a sudden, you've got a gun pointed at you.
And
Found myself laying naked on a beach near Ibiza, and all of a sudden it clicked. October 12th, Nikki's birthday.
I don't think I did I? Why are you asking all of a sudden? No reason. Because you're leaving, I guess. I don't think...
Regretted introducing her to Leonardo.
Yes, you're jealous.
All of a sudden I wanted to get her alone in a room and tell her I loved her. Isn't that stupid? I never felt any...
Years depart, and all of a sudden, your wife grows old and tired, and her hair is thin, and her body, and...
Because of what I did to her. And then, all of a sudden, there she was.
All of a sudden, after all this time...
Strange. 2 weeks ago, this was ancient history. Now, all of a sudden, I have a daughter.
Even worn it. I'll show you. You'll see why immediately.
Everybody's down on Moonstone all of a sudden.
Well, they are a little simple.
Well, I think...
I got a tripod, and my pants are down around my ankles. I'm behind this bush, and then all of a sudden, I see this gorilla, the hugest gorilla you've ever seen, staring right at me.
And then all of a sudden, my tape thing wasn't working, and then bang! All of a sudden, you were on the hood of my car, and I thought I killed you.
Listen, don't worry, I'm fine.
Okay.
You used to like him. Never met me a better thief. Why all of a sudden we gotta kill him?
Romeo, Romeo. Do you spend time?
Look it, I have seen these flowers all over. They're growing like parasites on other plants. All of a sudden, where are they coming from? Outer space?
They're not coming from outer space.
You take them out. All of a sudden, it's anarchy.
All right, Mr. Anarchy. Try not to burn the...
That's wishful thinking.
When did you become king shit fucking animal expert all of a sudden?
They paid me to kill those things.
My needle starting at zero, going the other way, a double blank. And all of a sudden, someone like you comes along.
Convention, because I mean, think about it. What is that convention? We're just this random collection of self-interest, and all of a sudden we just decide that we're just gonna walk 2 by 2.
From you in 3 years. You show up all of a sudden at 8 o'clock in the morning. You walk in here like a goddamn bulldozer.
Oh,
But why are you wearing these clothes?
because I just went gay all of a sudden. Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry.
Now see here, young man, stop this nonsense.
People just turn on each other, and all of a sudden, all that stands between you and being dead is you.
If you rush into this, it won't help. It'll make things worse.
Well, you've grown all of a sudden.
I know how you feel, but you have to let it go.
Come on.
What happened all of a sudden? Why don't you go sniff your own butt for a change? Because that ain't...
Switch clicking off in my head. Turns the hot light off and the cool one on, and all of a sudden there's peace.
Well, you're
Once they moved into town, he stole all their car stereos. So all of a sudden, everyone in Charlestown had a blowpunk in their car. You know what I mean?
And what, kill that cousin of yours and the rest of those zips? Mr. Tough Guy out for blood all of a sudden? You know nothing about it.
Mr. Kendon kept saying you lost the Highline complaint, and he called Mr. Wheeler, and all of a sudden Jamie comes in with the complaint in his hand.
You eliminate one person, and all of a sudden, the whole world changes.
But then the kids came along, and all of a sudden you stopped being scared. You'd never been so happy.
Anyway, I save again, and my birthday comes, and all of a sudden, $5 in my palm. I get on my bike, and I pedal so fast.
Everything is so definite. Like you say something and all of a sudden it's law and you can't walk it back.
You gotta tell me.